I started to become fearful of the world, because it was like like I said, everything from the get-go, back to back abuse, changing countries, dad being ill, mom ill, and then I'm having to hold this such heavy burden of energy. I started to, suffer from extreme anxiety to a point I could not even leave the house. And in that moment, I realized, oh my God, this is how you process your trauma.
Welcome to episode 20. Episode 20 already, can you believe it? This one with Madiha Sosan, motivational speaker and the host of the award-winning podcast, Awakens with Madiha Sosan. So, I've actually already recorded an episode with Madiha. It actually was a two-parter. Look, I'm at the start of the journey still, and I accidentally maybe deleted the whole thing. So I was like, oh no. And it was such a good episode. I loved it. And then luckily enough, Madiha goes to the same gym as me. So I was like, on the treadmill next, I was like, hey, soz, but I may have deleted the whole thing. Could you come back in? And she graciously did. We did another episode. This one's just a one. There was very to the point. We knew each other better, so it was a bit more concise, less verbose, and we got it all into this one beautiful episode 20. And yeah, she's been through some mad stuff, spiritual awakenings of her own, and so much suffering, loss, pain, anxiety. But then, wow, to see the transformation, it's one of the biggest bumps that I've seen, if that's a thing, bumps. So I'll let the episode do the talking. Now, guys, meditation with Michael, yeah? So, as always, I'm here for any one-to-ones. Now, that can be done over Zoom or in person. Classes every Monday. And I do record those classes. So if you aren't able to attend the Resonance Centre on the Monday, well, just get the recording for half price. And then also floating meditation journeys. So the next one's coming out this Saturday, the 25th of May. Now, if that's already passed, there'll be another one. But this one's the Tree of Life. It's all about tapping into the grandmother tree, the tree of life. She'll then connect you with the wood wide web, and you'll merge with the consciousness of the plants, the fungi, the trees. Find out how nature can help us rediscover our own true nature. So, yeah, there's the hammocks, there's the cacao jets, the ceremonies, there's breath work with transmorphic breath work, so much. So, if you can get down, it's going to be a good one. Otherwise, there'll be other journeys. Then, of course, I would love a like if you could, or a share. I mean, I know you've not seen it yet, so you don't know if it's going to be good, but you know what? If you could just like it, it supports the show so much. But obviously, wait till the end if you need to. I'm rambling. Right. Oh, and of course, we now have a few words about, well, good old transmute. You know how much I love me some transmute. Well, it's a new year, so of course there's new things to tell you about. What new things, Michael? Well, about the African dance classes. Or maybe you want to be the reason for the dancers, so DJ lessons. And I can't wait for my own DJ lesson. DJ Moksha coming soon. Keep an eye out. And then we've got Jams Mute. I tell you, bring an instrument. Maybe it's even just your voice. Maybe you just want to enjoy the atmosphere. But come down to a Jams Mute and just express yourself through that sound. Now, if you might just have something as simple as a birthday or an event, something you want to host yourself, you can rent the room out. It's for hire. And then they've got all the old stuff that they're doing as well. You know the classics. We've got Mustafa doing his magical drum class with the African drumming. Or you want to take care of your fitness, we've got extreme hip hop. Or we've got the caveman group training. Trust me, they test you. And then we've got the ceremonial ecstatic dance through Arinyane, done by the incredible wizardry. And that one, the magic that he weaves, my words are pointless. You have to come and experience it. We've even got the sound baths, or if you're Ruben, a sound waterfall. And I like using them hammocks as well. So we've got floating meditation journeys, hammock, meditation, music, take you on a story of epicness, if that's a word. We've even got cacao ceremony before it. And transmorphic breath work comes in as well, just to make sure you're right in the zone before you even get in that hammock. And then we got the old stuff as well, like workshops with Art of the Cosmos. I went to the grief one where you're allowed to release through TRE or the naturopathic nutrition. Ugh, the amount of different stuff they've got going on. The only way you're actually going to know is go down to transmutestudio.co.uk and have a little look, because that's where creativity meets awareness and they both play. Well, thanks for coming back on the show. Everyone's going to be like, back on the show.
Back on the show,
So
yeah.
Madiha was actually on Who on Earth previously, and being the expert I am, I've somehow misplaced the video. And you've graciously come back on. I appreciate you coming back on. It wasn't meant to be that one, was it?
Well, I understand, because obviously I've got my own podcast and we have the same kind of issues going on. So it's like, yeah, no, it's fine. I understand. If we need to redo it, maybe this time round is what we're meant to be talking about.
Clearly, I mean, when I asked you, I could just tell straight away. You're like, yeah, I get it. Just because we're gym buddies now, aren't we?
Literally, just saw you at the gym, and I was like running on the treadmill, and you're like, we've had an issue with your episode, and I'm like, all right, cool, yeah. Do you want to do it again?
Well, I'm glad that you came in and so quickly as well. So with this one, you probably remember the gist. Who on Earth's all about who on earth you are, so where you've come from, the adversities, the passions, the obstacles, whatever it is. So let's start with telling the guests, where does Madiha come from?
Where do I come from? So I am, I'm in Manchester, originally from Pakistan. So I was born in Rawalpindi, Pakistan. So lived in Pakistan until the age of 7, really.
And that was with your mum and dad, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you want me to share my whole story in a nutshell?
I mean, I'll pretend I don't know anything. I've got selective memory. So imagine the listener isn't me, obviously, and they don't know what's going on. So what was it like growing up there then?
Right. So life in Pakistan was difficult because we didn't have enough money. So my dad moved to the UK around the age of when I was 3 to create a better life for us. And it was just me and my mom in Pakistan. And so she was struggling quite a lot. She had hepatitis C and B, which meant we had no money for her treatment. And as you know, in Pakistan, it's not like NHS. You have to pay, and even if you can't afford it, then you basically just you don't get treated. So anyway, she was, family helped us out and things like that, but she was in and out of like hospital in Pakistan. But then it got to a point where it just we were struggling. Me without my dad. I was only like around 5, 6, and 4, 5, 6, and then school life in Pakistan was extremely difficult.
I remember you telling me you had a teacher that was a bit hands-on.
Yeah, she was quite abusive. I mean, at that point, I didn't know what was going on, but now, obviously, I'm a 35-year-old woman. I understand what was happening. So she was only doing it to me, and I didn't really tell anybody. She would get me in front of the class, and she would ask me to read something. And if I made a mistake, she would just slap me or punch me at the back or send me out the class or hit me with rulers. So I used to be terrified of her. And I used to cry as well. Like I used to throw tantrums that I don't want to go to school. And I was kind of labeled as a naughty child because it's like, oh, well, she doesn't want to go to school. But I didn't know why. I was just afraid to go to school. And it was the teacher, right? So yeah, that was going on for like 5, 6, and then around the age of 7, me and my mom moved to the UK to be with my dad.
You escaped.
Yeah, escaped basically. Though I did like Pakistan, like we used to live near mountains, so it was just now nice, like big space with like lots of freedom to maneuver and climb up a mountain or something or do something, like I wasn't afraid. I was the only kid outside playing like 40, 50 degrees, and then come home with a banging headache. And my mom used to say, why do you even play outside?
There's always pros and cons to anywhere, isn't there? You'll
Yeah.
find what's wrong with the next place if that's how your mind's wired. So
Yeah.
what I meant was you've escaped the teacher.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, at that point, I wasn't really, like I said, like, you know, I was a 5-year-old, wasn't really like paying attention to what I was, but I was terrified. Obviously, it's a trauma that was left on me, because it's obviously, it kept, you know, like I'll tell you
Replaying.
about, it kept coming back in my life, but I didn't know what it was, what was the root cause of it, you know. So yeah, and when I moved to the UK, it was again difficult because I didn't speak any English. I didn't have any friends, and in school I used to be terrified of the teachers, so I used to cry every single day in school.
So do you still feel this fear for teachers at this point?
No.
Okay.
Well, when I was 7.
So when you moved to the English school, did you carry over this fear of teachers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, at this point, no. But like, yeah, like I'm 35 and I'm scared of the teachers. Can't take her near a school.
She starts crying.
Yeah, no. Well, I was afraid when I moved here, and it was again every day crying. And one day, principal got me, my mom and dad in the office, and he said, she cries every day in school. There's no underlying issue. Because every time they would ask me, I would say, I don't know. I wouldn't even give like a solid answer to why I was crying. All I knew was I was just scared of the teachers, and I just didn't want to go to school. So he's like, well, you know, there may be some mental health issues there. So we might, if she carries on crying, and we may have to put her in special needs school. Right? It's almost like we just want to get rid of this problem. We don't want to solve it.
This is a bit difficult. I can relate. I was like, oh, he's the naughty kid. Just give her to it. Because she was called Una, and she had all the naughty kids. And it was like one person for all these variations of why they're misbehaving. No one thought for a second, oh, his mum and dad have broken up.
Yeah.
And his friend group's just abandoned him. Maybe he's a bit upset about that, plus puberty and all the other stuff.
Exactly. They don't go to the root cause of like, how can we get rid of the problem? Right? How can we get rid of it?
This isn't going to get test results.
Yeah, exactly. So they were playing around with the idea for a while, and eventually it kind of settled in, because my mom and dad were like, look, they're going to put you in special needs school if you carry on like this, because you don't really want to be in that, you know, in that environment. And then I kind of just slowly settled in. I realized that teachers were a lot gentle here than the one in Pakistan. And so I started getting into school, and I became the captain of my cricket team, only girl in boys cricket team, which is
fist bump there for people who can't see.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes you resilient, like the hardships that you go through, what the teacher was doing, or the hardships that I've seen. It does make you really resilient to life struggles. It makes you stand out. Yeah, it's like makes you stand out of, I wouldn't say you are special, but it stands out of the norm because you've been through that.
Well, usually it's the wounds that create space for this unique next part of you to grow. The issues are when you resist it.
Yeah.
That's when it's like,
yeah,
I don't want to be something else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, like, we were still struggling financially. My mom and dad was still stressed out, so we lived in a private rented place with just one bed and one heater. And my mom and dad gave me the bed while they slept on the floor. Oh. That was our lives for basically 2 years. But I think even though it was difficult to be in that environment, it was also really blissful. I was really happy because my family was reunited.
Okay.
Right? So around the age of 3, my dad moved. So I didn't see him up until the age of 7. And so I was just really happy. Even my mum was in and out of hospital. I just felt safe because my dad was there. Right? Whereas my mum was ill in Pakistan and I was little, and it's like, you have family, external family around, but you don't feel safe enough as you do with your own parents.
It makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
The little thing that it keeps triggering for me was when I was in Australia. It was paradise. It was beaches, all this beautiful stuff. But all my family and friends were back in England. Plus, the football was on at the wrong time.
Did you have to get up like middle of the
Oh
night?
man, I was watching like when we played PSG. I know you like a bit of football, and that 6 a.m. I'm like, go on! And I thought, who's this English nutter?
Yeah.
So what was it like? You started getting you started settling in a bit more, and then obviously feeling a bit more content that you're with your mum and dad.
Yeah. We used to play like board games like almost every single day, and my dad was working. He was working multiple jobs where because my mum was still ill, because this time while she was in Pakistan, they did not diagnose her for hepatitis C, because it's like a virus in your liver, right?
Okay.
So it affects your liver, and she was ill most of the time. So when we moved here, they quickly diagnosed her that she's got hepatitis C, whereas like years in Pakistan they couldn't even diagnose her.
Okay.
Right? So obviously, like the healthcare, and obviously you have to pay extra to get certain tests, and so it just wasn't, nobody was kind of just paying attention to it. So she was still in and out of hospital, but yeah, like I said, like I started settling in, started to make some friends after a while, still starting to learn English. The way I used to learn was like watch TV shows, or watch like, or read like like if they're talking about a certain topic on TV, and I used to like look in dictionaries, basically. So I was like, okay, what does that word mean? And I learned it really quickly.
Old school. There's no people who got iPhones in their hands right now are like, you did what?
Yeah. So it was, TV was helpful. Books were helpful. So yeah, we started settling in, and then we moved to Bury, and then we had to move in high school. For high school, we had to move to Levenshulme.
Okay.
So we went from Bury to Levenshulme, and it was again completely different. I had to start. It's like almost starting all over again. Like you're in primary school, you just made some friends. Now you're off to high school, and it's gonna be completely different because they all know each other from previous primary school, right? And you have to relearn. I was like, oh my god, I gotta make friends again. So we kind of stayed in, again, private rented place, and it was not a nice place. We had rats and mice everywhere. The place was damp. It was not a livable kind of condition, but because we were desperate, we just had to move really quickly.
But it's not getting a 5-star review on Airbnb.
No. No, I think we went to Citizen Advice as well at one point, and they was like, this place isn't livable. You can't, this person should be renting it out. But because we were desperate, we just stayed there. And then around the age of 13, things got worse. My dad was diagnosed with cancer, and it was in his bladder first. So they removed his bladder, and then it came back a couple of months later, and literally just spread so fast that he died within a year. And
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. I share my story all the time. It's how, like,
You've processed a lot.
Yeah, I have. And then like 6 months later, my mom fell even more ill, so she ended up having severe rheumatoid arthritis. So she, not only that, she has hepatitis C, hepatitis B, depression, all of those. And now she's been diagnosed with severe rheumatoid arthritis, and her fingers and toes were bending really, really fast and becoming inflamed. And doctors were at one point like, normally illnesses progress slowly, but with her it was quite rapid.
Okay.
And she was completely bedbound. And I just had to become her carer, so I became her carer at the age of 14.
And how's that for you? You've got all this moving and learning new stuff, and then your dad, obviously the awful thing that's happened with your dad. So where's your head at that point?
Not in a good place. I think the first thing it went straight into survival.
Okay.
It went straight. Obviously, I had anxiety when my dad was diagnosed with cancer. At this point, when he had cancer, when we went to Citizen Advice, they said it's not livable conditions, so
Okay.
we got a place, a council house, for the family. That was literally a couple of months before he passed away. I always say that my dad kind of just left us in a safe ground, whereas we were struggling in these private rented places where, like, I mean, council houses isn't like a lot, but it's still better than what we experienced. And yeah, so at this point, I'm just struggling with anxiety. And then when my dad passed away, it got worse. But then that survival mode came in. It was like, okay, I need to look after my mom because I've got nobody around. I haven't got any brother, sister, limited external family.
So you just absolutely tapped into the masculine now.
Completely masculine. And it was just, she was that ill that I used to feed her. I used to take her out. I should take her shopping. Used to like change her clothes and everything that comes with a caring responsibility. Like you're a 13, 14, 15 year old doing all of that, and it should be the kind of the other way around. Like your parents, not like, obviously, like they look after you, but not to a point where you have to look after them. So
usually it's like, right now I'm in my 30s, 40s, my mum and dad are now 70, 80, they're starting to need, not 14.
Yeah.
Because you're going through, like, that's a hard age. Anyway, in a foreign country, trying to make friends, new language, lost my dad. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, everything was happening back to back. It's like getting hit. Like at that point when I was suffering from anxiety, I went to college, but after college my body completely collapsed. I started to become fearful of the world, because it was like like I said, everything from the get-go, back to back abuse, changing countries, dad being ill, mom ill, and then I'm having to hold this such heavy burden of energy. I started to suffer from extreme anxiety to a point I could not even leave the house. Every time I would even step outside in the garden, I would have panic attacks. I used to have community befrienders come take me out to the garden first, park, street, because I was afraid. I was just afraid of the world. That I thought that around the corner there's something bad's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen, and I was on edge. I was walking on eggshells. It's like something's bad's gonna happen because that's all I've experienced in my life.
That's the pattern of life. Why would you think anything else?
Yeah. Exactly. So I like I would afraid to go outside. Panic attacks, 2-3 panic attacks a day. I used to eat like binge eat, and then I used to be like overweight as well. You see me sitting, everybody says like, see me and say, you overweight. It's like I was
the same. I used to have a pot belly. Like Haribo. I know you used to be a gamer, didn't you? As well,
I used to game.
Playing the games. Right, there's football on. Right, games again.
Yeah, exactly. And I was doing all of that to numb the pain.
It's a very good distraction. I'll just get lost in this game, or I'll get lost in this or that. It's not making me feel what I'm actually feeling. I can project, and then that's the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the way our society is built. Like we kind of go into, we have this pain point. We don't have, our system doesn't show us how to process emotions. Our parents sometimes don't know how to, like, unless they've done that work on themselves, understand what emotions are.
Exactly. And they didn't have the internet.
No.
Like, we're so quick to judge parents and all that. Like, they didn't have all this plethora of information just at touch.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember you telling me as well that you used to channel your anger through the gaming, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. So exactly. So I'm riddled with anxiety for 10 years. That was my life for 10 years. Riddled with anxiety. And all I used to do to numb every time there was a pain point, I would just numb it. It's like game, like play on PlayStation, Call of Duty, FIFA, swearing like crazy. Like, you know, that's how I was getting all my anger out.
I remember you were gamer 441. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched, I was like, okay, once I stopped playing games, oh, that pain is still there. I used to still have that pain, but it was like distraction. Yeah. Like distracting away from it. It was like, okay, I need to distract myself and binge watch whole TV series.
United nowadays is good for releasing pain as well.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Even back in those days, it was like miss pass, and I'm like, I'm off.
Right, that's it.
Yeah. And yeah, that was my life for like 10 years. Just in a way, I am grateful for it because it saved me from, they say that like, when people go through trauma, when I interview people on my podcast and I see the pattern that they go through, so they have trauma point, like that pain point, and then they distract themselves with like partying and getting drunk and drugs and all of that stuff, right? So
I don't know what you're talking
behavior.
About.
Yeah, self-destructive behavior.
Yeah.
But even though I was self-destructing with gaming and all of the things that I was doing, but I'm kind of grateful that I wasn't out there destroying everybody else's life. It was contained in my own, like, even though I was destroying myself, I wasn't. It wasn't being
projected at everyone around. It wasn't this ripple effect necessarily.
Yeah, maybe to a point as someone who I was swearing at in the gaming, but
Ronaldo could just feel your energy. Madiha, leave me alone. But then it must get to a point where like you're stuck in, and then something changes because you're sat in front of me right now.
Yeah. So it's a bit crazy because at this point I don't believe in anything. I'm an atheist, and every time anybody would talk about God or spiritual side of things, I would question, if God was really real, why would he make me suffer, or why would he make anyone else suffer?
Thing that people's thinking,
exactly. Whys. And why does he make everybody else suffer if he was this, if he was that? So I was complete atheist, didn't believe in anything. And I was actually living in a victim mentality. So throughout my life, I was in victim mentality, and getting out of victim mentality took a spiritual awakening. I'll tell you about the experience. So I had 2 back-to-back out-of-body experiences.
Like, one wasn't enough.
One wasn't enough. Like, my spirit guide was like, nah, man.
Try again.
She's like, yeah. Another one, secure.
So let's start with number 1 then, shall we? What happened?
Right, so I was laying on my bed one evening, late afternoon, and all of a sudden I felt a vibration within my body, and I felt like there's something kind of lifted out, not physically, but I felt something lifted out, and I ended up in this place where everything was just completely white. And when I was in that state, place, or whatever you want to call it, I felt like I was home. This is where I'm originally from. And I felt the unconditional love of something that was bigger than myself. And that was the first time I've actually experienced love like that, even though I don't know, I like obviously still trying to make sense of it all, but when I was in that state, it's like you don't even, when you're talking to someone, you don't talk by mouth, it's like by telepathy.
I've had experiences like that
Yeah,
before. And the feeling is so unconditional. It's like, I've seen everything you've ever done.
Yeah, it's like,
I love it.
I know
Everything about you. And it's not like, because even a mum or a dad or a brother or a friend or a partner, they're in a human body, so they will have conditions. They will have like, oh, you've done that, right, I'm going to withdraw love and da-da-da. This is just, if it's the same thing, it's just,
it's unconditional. You are who you are, right? And I felt accepted, I felt loved. So it's like home, like I said, it felt like home. This is where I'm from. And within the white light, there was like a beams of light standing there. And from my understanding, there were souls standing there without any physical appearance. And I kind of floated like up to one light. You know when they say it's like spiritual floaty. I was like, I know what you're talking about. It's not like going by foot. It's actually float from one place to the other. And when I went up to one light, and he turned around and turned into the face of my dad. And he just smiled and he said, everything is okay, don't worry. And I remember like his face really close, and at the back, like that white light, it was so bright that it didn't even hurt my eyes. And then as soon as he said that, I came back, and I remember from my right toe to my top of my head, like my body was like vibrating. And then all of a sudden all my body was vibrating for like a couple of seconds. And obviously now I know what it is, like people have experiences like this, you know, but like what at that point, atheist, no knowledge of what this is about, never heard of anyone who's had an out of body experience or like whatever, and I'm freaking out. I'm really freaking out. I thought there's something wrong with me mentally. I need to go to the doctors maybe, but then they're gonna think I'm crazy. My family's gonna think I'm crazy, so I'm gonna keep it to myself. And at this point my brain was like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot to take. Because like, what the hell's just happened?
Any guide. It's not like a shaman's gone right.
This is your experience. No, it's like I had to unravel it one by one without anybody's help. And then like so it's just like for a week I was like freaking out, but at the same time it's like it was so blissful that like I was having two kind of experiences. So I would feel really blissful and really like channeling that, like, you know, unconditional love, and then at the same time my ego would take over. It's like, what the hell is this? Are you serious? Are you real? Are you for real? What the hell, right? And then it goes back to knowing, like, really, like, in a space of, like, you know, fairyland, whatever. And then it was like, yo, you're back to reality. So it was like a battle. Really freaked out. And then a week later, same thing happened.
Because that wasn't enough.
Eh?
That wasn't enough.
That wasn't enough. It's like, universe is like, another shot of like vodka or something. So again, like I ended up in the same place. This was at the middle of the night. I would say probably deep into like 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
So were you asleep?
I was asleep at this time.
So did it wake you up?
No, I went straight from my sleep.
Okay.
So I didn't like wake up until after the experience. Again, same thing happened. I went there. Where did you go? Complete white light in the space where just, again, unconditional love. This time the souls weren't standing there. There was just this bubble of light, like energy, that wrapped around me, and I felt so much love. Like I keep saying, unconditional love, but this was something different. This felt like unconditional love to the next level, maybe. You know,
so being embraced by the unconditional love,
embraced by something that has had the warmest, loving energy like I've never experienced before. And I just felt safe. It was really hard to explain.
Words are clumsy, but do your best.
Yeah, I know. In a human level, I don't know how to explain it. That was quite brief, and I remember coming back and opening my eyes. That did wake me up, and again, my body was vibrating.
For the cynic in me, could that not have been a dream, or has it got a completely different flavour to a dream?
It was completely different flavor to the dream. It almost felt like exactly the same experience. Well, it was the same experience as when I experienced it when I was awake.
So you weren't falling asleep the first time?
No,
You just
I was
letting
awake the
right,
first time.
okay.
It was almost like
Same place, same result
done.
afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. And then I've never said the word like God. Like I used to say it in a way where, because my family's Muslim, it's like, yeah, God, like, whatever.
Bit of a G word.
Yeah, a bit of a G word, but it's like I've never said it in a way where I'm grateful for this. And I just started mumbling in my half asleep, half awake, like, thank you, God, for everything, because that experience, that's what it felt. It felt like maybe something was a lot bigger than me, and it wrapped around me. And I just started mumbling, thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. And I heard the loudest voice in my right ear that said, stay positive and keep going. That was it. That was the night that changed everything. I cried buckets. Really? But it felt like all the fear went out of my body, and it was just replaced by knowing peace, safe, knowing that I have like a team behind me. Like there is something there.
Yeah, man.
Like, like I said, something bigger than myself.
You're not just in it on your own. You're just this victim on the planet fending for you.
Yeah.
No, actually, there's more behind me than that.
Are you tired of feeling run down? Maybe you're struggling with some sort of health condition, or it could be as simple as you're not reaching your fullest potential. Well, I found a solution. Isabella Nutrition's here to transform your life, show you the incredible healing power of nature. Let me just introduce to you Isabella Bradford Johnson, a skilled naturopathic nutritionist with a passion for showing you how to achieve optimum health, well-being, with tailor-made nutrition and lifestyle plans. She'll show you how to fill your life with vitality, renewed energy. Now, Isabella firmly believes that your body holds the key to your healing. She just wants to show you how to unlock it. Through the power of lifestyle and diet changes, Isabella will show you how to heal from within. Be that best version of yourself. Now, whether you're looking to improve your overall health or target a specific area, maybe it's gut or hormonal issues where she specialises, Isabella will have expert guidance and support to show you how to have a future filled with joy. Now, it's not about quick fixes, short-term solutions. No, it's about long-term transformation, sustainable results. So stop waiting to take care of your health. Go down to www.isabellabradfordjohnsonnutritionist.uk. Book a consultation with Isabella today. Embark on a journey filled with health, vitality, lasting well-being. Isabella Nutrition, empowering you to live your healthiest life.
One thing is that when I was in that state, you kind of have the key knowledge to the universe. You feel like, again, you can't explain it, but it's that inner knowing. This is just, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you have the answers to all the questions that you've been asking in your entire life, and it's with really remembering who you are. You are a soul, not just. This is where the problems come, when we think that we're separate from our soul, right? This is where the fear
I am
comes.
the body, I am the
ego
name,
takes over.
I am the character, when really that's just a vessel, like a car is.
Yeah, so it's like you're run by your soul, and your soul is so powerful. When I was in that state, I realized that, like, your soul is so powerful. Why are you fearful of life? Why are you fearful of life? Why aren't you taking chances?
The infinite shouldn't be scared of the finite, and the finite passes.
Exactly. And yeah, so yeah, that feeling just rushed over me. Next day, I just went to Tesco where I couldn't even step outside the house. My head, like, went to Tesco without any fear.
Is that a conscious thing? Like, I'm gonna go to Tesco, or just more like, yeah, obviously
I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
And my mum was like, where are you? Where are you going?
Well,
I was like,
have you eaten
go to Tesco. Do you want something? Do you want milk? She's like, but yeah.
How was that for you? It must have been a bit invigorating. Just, you're not. Or is it really casual?
It was casual? Almost. It was like, I don't know. I just got up and went. And then that just went, all right, I'm going to join the gym. I want to go on an adventure. This excitement, playful, childlike energy came in me. So it's like, I'm going to join the gym. I'm going to go on helicopter rides. Helicopter rides. I'm going to go to like this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make friends. I'm going to take up this. So it just became like an adventure.
Well, it sounds like you've gone from what could happen to what could happen.
Yeah.
Like, just the same sort of approach, but just a different energy behind it.
Yeah, like it shifted overnight. So completely different energy. But it wasn't all rosy, like it wasn't all about going on helicopter rides or going to the gym and doing all that socializing and whatever I was doing, improving my life. My diet changed. I couldn't even eat meat anymore. Whereas before it was like Burger Kings and like pizzas and like overweights that like I couldn't even look at it anymore. Everything was changing on a physical, and like I was just going with it. At the same time, you feel a bit crazy when you're going through a rapid transformation.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Your body's like, your mind's already gone. Your body's kind of catching up slowly. So one thing, like my faith started to become stronger in like, in universe. And at this point I am trying to make sense of what's happening, and I'm like seeing angel numbers everywhere, and then I see 1111, or I see 222, 333, 444, and I'm like, and then like my attention gets drawn towards what those numbers, and researching about these numbers, and then the more I'm researching, the more I'm getting those like downloads. And I have like this angelic experience, and I'm having all these like psychic kind of experiences where it's opening up. It was scary as well at the same time, really calming, because I'm like, exciting new world, oh my god, exciting new world. And then I felt like I was at that point, like my faith in universe and my guides, and I was communicating with them, like like when you do automatic writing. So when you're like asking a question and you get almost like you get possessed, and you're like writing really fast, and I'm communicating,
it's giving that part of you to just finally release.
Yeah. So at this point I had such strong faith in I call them my team, right? That they're always going to be there. They're guiding me. I'm understanding that my everything I've been through in my life was a preparation to get me to the place where I need to be. And I was understanding that. I was slowly understanding that, and the faith was getting stronger and stronger, to a point where it was almost like I was like letting my soul guide, and like I took backseat and not trying to control anything. And when I took backseat, it's like universe is like, right, you need to look at that trash. So you need to look at those traumas that you've experienced. You need to like release. How do you release it? And obviously, like I was gaming, I was watching TV, and distracting myself. All of that went out the window. I could not even do that anymore. It was almost like completely clean, like you're nothing. You're empty. How do you fill yourself up when you're empty? But you have all these traumas now that you need to look at. right? You need to sit with these traumas and process these traumas, whereas, when everything gets taken away, you have to do that. So I sat with myself for 2 years, started asking myself, how are you feeling today? Are you okay? And when I started asking these questions, everything that I suppressed over the years came up for me to heal one by one. Everything about my dad, the teacher in Pakistan. That's when I kind of realized that I was actually abused. At the age of 27, I realized that I was actually abused by that teacher.
You've just been carrying that the whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And everything came up, and everything that I wasn't even in my conscious awareness came up. And I was okay with it, like in our society, or it's hard to look at your emotions.
Well, everyone's like, positive, say positive, don't cry, and it's like, well, that's so natural. It's ubiquitous between the human race for a reason. It's how we release all these even toxins through the tears. And it's, for me, it's like when you shift the mentality from I don't like that to what is that. And I think I remember you saying, actually, the same as me, you started getting curious with the pain rather than judgmental or resistant.
Yeah, you do, because it's just, when you got nothing left, I always say that you will have some sort of awakening. Might not be a point where the way I've had it. Mine was, I don't know what the hell happened.
Don't expect angels and dads and vibrating bodies.
Yeah, but there will be a point where you've suffered enough that you are going to change your life.
Summer goes, enough.
Switch needs to, like, you cannot go through your life with just pain and suffering and not looking at your shit. You can't do it. You can't do
Eventually, it's just going to break.
Yeah, it's going to break. Either you're going to break mentally or your body's going to break, right? And then on final days of your life, you realize, oh shit, look at all that trash that I didn't clear.
Well,
right?
Peace is not the absence of pain, it's the embracing of it and then understanding and processing it, not rejecting it. Just like me and you, peace isn't me and you just agreeing with everything. It's us going, right, you've got that opinion, I've got that opinion, but let's be amicable, let's respect. Just doing that internally as well with a sensation or a mental thought pattern or emotion.
Yeah.
How was that for you then? Because that sounds quite liberating.
Yeah, it was like...
Tough, but...
Really tough. I always say the peeling first layer of the onion is the most painful.
Yeah.
So when I started looking into my emotions and my trauma, it was really heavy. But at this point, I feel like everything was just perfectly aligned, where it just feels like universe, like, okay, she's gonna go through that awakening, gonna, like, shake her up a little bit, and then let's push her out in a world where she'll find that balance, where she's going to the gym, friends, she'll have all these things, and then we'll kind of force her into awakening at the like looking into her stuff.
It's
right?
like tough love.
Tough love,
yeah.
yeah.
But let's start with
gentle adventure, and then
oh, by the way,
traumatizing.
Why we just could just take a look at this a sec.
It was just perfectly done. The way, like, when I look back, last 7-8 years of my life, it just been perfectly done by universe at certain points of when I was ready to look at stuff, when I was ready to experience this.
When you were saying, like, when people are going, what sort of God? One that's got a bigger picture than you. Yeah. That's what I say to people, like, you are one tiny sliver of this pie. Yeah. Don't think you're going to know everything that's going. There's something, just trust. Exactly. It sounds like you got the faith from the experience, the spiritual awakening. Now, I am mindful of time. I want to start touching on when the maybe motivational speaking comes. We've got an award-winning podcast. So what starts going on from this 2 years of trauma processing?
So obviously, like, 2 years, I'm looking at my stuff. And then it got to a point where I was 2 years later sitting, it became so easy. Let me just explain the onion kind of thing. So the first time when I started, it was hard, and then as you get to the deep rooted core of it, you start really releasing a lot of stuff. So it becomes a lot easier when you get to the core rather than the surface.
You're more familiar with sitting with that sort of stuff,
yeah,
don't you?
Yeah, so then it's like it was almost like one day I'm asking those questions and I'm rolling on the floor crying, and then I'm getting up and playing badminton, going up and playing. That's how easy it became. It was almost like a chore, tapping into my emotions. How can I process my emotions? What do I need to do? And it was just easier to release, and I was feeling lighter, lighter, lighter to a point. Then one day I sat and asked those questions, and nothing was coming up, and I felt really, really amazing, incredible, like completely like the way I explain is like the trash can and a rotten tomato analogy. Have I explained to you this
Well,
the
obviously
first
the
time
listeners
round?
don't know.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So
pretend I don't know nothing.
so basically, in my talks, I talk about you have this trash can inside of you, and each rotten tomato is a trauma, a bad experience or whatever. And it gets inside of you. Doesn't matter whether it's big T or small T. It's still a T, right? And before we know it, it gets filled up because life really humbles you, and you are going to get those rotten tomatoes left, right, and center, right? And it gets filled up. What do you do with the trash can full of rotten tomatoes? What do you do with the actual trash can? You take it out. You take the bin out so you can pour more of a trash in, right? So it's clean, it's more cleaner. Um, and it affects your personality. Like you're walking around with all those rotten tomatoes. It affects your personality, your relationship, your work life. Everything gets affected. So processing those traumas out, so you have to like take them, purge them out your body, which is exactly what we were talking about. We're doing. And so when I sat with myself that day, nothing was coming up. I felt clean. I felt energized. I felt light.
The bin men had just been.
Yeah, the bin man's just been, and that was universe basically saying.
The universal bin man.
The bin man's just been, and I just felt just amazing. And in that moment, I realized, oh my God, this is how you process your trauma. This is how you clear it out. And there's like gems and nuggets, and I'm finding like skills that I'm like, you feel intelligent. All these traumas, all these things, limiting beliefs, whatever you have, actually, if you remove them, if you purge them out, you process them, you're actually a really intelligent being.
Well, the darkness has its teachings. You're almost upgrading.
Yeah.
You're resisting the upgrades if you're resisting the pain.
Yeah. And then that moment I realized, oh my God, this is how it's done. And then it felt like, right, what do I do now? And that goes on to like the motivational speaking aspect.
Because didn't you say you used to envision yourself in a suit? Like
yes.
For hours and hours.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I remember seeing on Arnold Schwarzenegger one, and he was like this visualizing master, everything he visualized, because he was just so consistent with it. It was becoming more and more, it's almost like you're pulling it from the ethereal realm of possibility, action, reality.
Yeah. So, so when during my darkest time, I used to obviously no idea what law of attraction is, no idea was, I'm just in my happy place. So I used to visualize the life that I want, the life that I don't have and I want, right? And I'm stuck in my room with this extreme anxiety, put headphones, walk around my room every single day, going into my happy place, my Narnia, going into the wardrobe of Narnia.
Would you go in the wardrobe and do it?
Yeah, no, just in my room. That was the box, basically. And I just imagine the life that I wanted. And I used to imagine like being in business suits and on stage doing something, no idea what, but something at events, have like amazing people around me. And yeah, so that was the life that I was creating. And then obviously like I forgot about it after I did that for like 4 years, and I forgot about it. And then I had my awakening, and all of a sudden all of this is coming into fruition, right? And the way that started off was where I started to ask the universe. I was like, okay, universe, I've done all this healing work. How do you want me to help people? How do I turn my negative life experiences into something positive that would motivate and inspire and help people? And I had a thought and I let it go, right? And at this point, like I said, my faith is quite strong. Something will come back. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the flow of life is.
But I've planted it. I've put it out
Yeah.
there.
Seeds,
However it
yeah.
appears, I trust that's what's right for me.
Exactly. And a couple of weeks later, I was at Law of Attraction at Friends Meeting House in Manchester. And after the meeting, we were stood outside. So one of my friends said she's an actress and she wants to do like public speaking because she gets stage fright. I was like, what is public speaking? And it's like, oh, you can like go on stage and share your story. And I thought at this point, it was like some like business conference thing. I don't know what it is. And
a TED Talk or something.
Yeah. No, I didn't even know TED Talk at that point, to be honest. Like, I didn't even know what public speaking was because obviously I was cooped up inside my house with gaming.
Busy gaming.
Yeah.
COD, mate.
Completely different life. What the hell is this life? And she goes, no, you can go on stage and share your story. I was like, oh, okay. So while we were talking about public speaking, these two guys popped out of the building and they were talking about public speaking at the same time, and they teach public speaking. And I'm like,
make of that what you will.
That is a massive
because they're all over the place. I can't go anywhere without somebody talking about motivational speaking.
And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it because I'm a yes person at this point.
Okay.
I completely trust in the universe, fearless, like just yes, I'm there. And I was like, go for it. It was her idea. She didn't go for it.
Do you know how many times somebody's told me about something, they don't do it, and I end up doing it?
Yeah. She's like, I still have that fear. I was like, no, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, man.
So I ended up like researching about public speaking and watched at that point I started looking at TED Talks.
Okay.
and then doing the course for 3 months. And at the end of the course, they're like, well, you know, you're gonna have to stand in front of people on a stage. And I thought it'd be like 20 people or 10 people is fine. 100 people turned up. Oof. Over 100 people turned up, and I'm like, whoa.
10 people gives you the first time you like. I had to do it in sales, and they were like, will you do a talk in front of like, I don't know, 20, 30 people? And I'm like, inside I'm shaking, I'm perspiring, I'm sweating. Yeah. People are like, oh, you did really well. I'm like, did I? So 100.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like the first time, like even in class there was 5 of us, and it's standing in front of the class of like shaking,
getting them vibrations again. Oh, it's spiritual awakening number 3.
Universe, like, I'm gonna show you how to do it. So yeah, and honestly, I was nervous, but it wasn't that. I just felt really empowered. Like I walked out, I was nervous, channeled that anxiety into something like oosh, like empowered, like something really powerful energy.
You didn't let it overwhelm you. You channeled that energy.
Yeah. Whereas if you asked me like 10 years ago, and when I was having panic attacks, I probably shouldn't.
But that's when people say I can't do that, I'm like, you struggle to.
Yeah.
You can't see the future, and you've only got the past to go off. You don't know what's going to be introduced to you in the future. You like, Michael, you're going to be teaching meditation in a school. I would I'd laugh. I go, what have you been having?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I stood, and that's when I realized, oh my God, this is my purpose. Like, you feel so powerful that like, it's like you're that energy point and everybody is all eyes on you, and not to a point where it's like ego, like I'm better or special, but it's like very
seen.
Yeah, like this is what I'm here to do, right? And every single, not a pin drop, every single person was so tuned in, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then after the talk, people coming up, oh, you inspired me to make a difference.
Well done, by the way, for doing it.
Thank you.
That's not. There's another fist bump for the non-watchers.
Yeah, fist bump. Yeah, but that's my.
You love a little fist bump.
Yeah, I love fist bump. I have a fist bump all the celebrities.
Weren't you just at some thing with a load of celebrities? And I was like, is she just fist bumping? I'm sure I recognise their face.
Yeah, that's my theme. So basically, I meet a lot of celebrities and I just fist bump them.
Don't blame me.
Yeah, so that's it. And then 3 months later, I ended up on stage again. This time there was like over 150 something odd people. And then there was somebody in the talk. It's my second talk, who knew organizers of this like award. People give out awards, right? And so she nominated me for Best Female Inspirational Person of the Year award. So I shared my story on the first talk, and the second talk was like the inner healing, the trauma purging, and all of that stuff I was talking about in the second talk. She was so inspired. She nominated me for an award, and later on that year, I went and won that award.
I'm not going to keep fist bumping.
It's fine. It's fine.
We'll be here all day.
Yeah, and then that year was 2019 was extremely incredible year, because it's like not only did I go find my purpose, went on stage, realized that like speaking is my PowerPoint. I won the award, went on all different radios and TVs and things like that after the award, but I moved out of my mum's place as well at the same time.
I remember you saying.
Yeah. So it was like 2019 was jam-packed with amazing, incredible energy coming my way. And one of my friends said, like, you know why that is? It's all that 4 years or 3 years of work that you've done on yourself. That's an award from the universe to say, right, you've earned this. So it was just incredible. And then we went straight into lockdown.
Every guest does this. Every guest got this crazy stuff, and then lockdown, boom. It's like this big hand just goes, no more.
Like, yeah.
But you just got your flat,
like,
yeah?
Yeah. Literally a month before the lockdown happened, I moved into my flat, and I was like, whoa. I only had one bed, again, one bed and a sofa, and like appliances. And at this point, like, I've got nothing. Everything is empty. And like, obviously all the stores were closed as well. I couldn't go shopping. So I was like, you know what, at least I have a bed. I have plates. I have all of this. I'll wait until ride it out. And I kind of enjoyed lockdown, to be honest, because I found time to myself.
It had its ups and downs, but that's when I really started kicking on.
Yeah.
Because it gave you a chance to actually look at your life and what matters to you, and then the next thing I'm reading Power Now, and I'm starting to, why don't I write? And then it's just
yeah.
So yeah, to me it was like,
yeah,
I ended up working. I ended up being a carer, so I didn't have that. Like, I still had the work to be doing.
Did you?
Yeah, I wanted to help while the
like,
how can I help? Still get paid.
Yeah, which is good. Like, which is really honorable thing to do. Like during that time, everybody was struggling. So many people, especially emotionally, and I feel like there were like a gap. There was a split where some people were thriving in it, finally sitting with their emotions, and were able to kind of, okay, oh my God, I need to change my life. This was my pain point. It's not going to be anymore. A lot of realizations, whereas the other people could not handle it, where they went worse and worse, drinking.
Distract more, go into defensive behaviour patterns more, domestic abuse, shouting at each other. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like me and my partner, we had moments, because obviously you're stuck in 24. Like, it's going to but it made us so much stronger.
Yeah.
It was like almost like an accelerator.
Yeah.
So it was either like, oh, or you know what? This is actually working out for the better.
It's like I feel like every virus that we have, flu or whatever virus that you have, is an upgrade. It's always an upgrade. And what's happened globally has been an upgrade. And it's like anything that wasn't serving your life was going out. So there was like people splitting up where they've been together for years, and finally they sat with themselves, with each other. It's like, do I actually like this person? I was like, okay, well, I can't go on stage. I can't share my story on stage. Again, universe, how do I help people? How do you want me to inspire people? What do you want me to do? And I, just before pandemic, I was at this event, Brand Builders Summit. So that's where I met Bob Doyle from The Secret.
Right, I remember.
Yeah. So he's been in The Secret movie and the book, and so I met him at that event. And I forgot what my point was.
Well, I imagine you fist bumped him for starters at the event, but then from what I can remember, the podcast.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
'Cause,
See, you remember better than I do.
That's my job. My job's to let you go on tangents. I keep like, you get to be the other side now.
I think a bit of a like ADHD brain is like he's flying off in all different directions.
Nah, you do really well. Like, I see some guests, I'll say something and it's like they've forgotten everything that they were about to say. So you're quite good at coming back on point.
Yeah, it's all good. So
it's not your first podcast.
So
Even with me.
So obviously, like the idea was seed was planted before the pandemic. Before I asked the question, universe is like, I know she's gonna ask the question. I'm gonna like plant that. So I met this guy over there. He was teaching about podcasting. At that point, I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't care. Like, it's not really me. Like, I don't really care. And then I just carried on with whatever, a fist bumping Bob Dole, because he was my center of focus. So I just want to fist bump and get him on a Facebook Live. And and then like when I asked the question during pandemic, universe is like, oh, do you remember that guy? I was like, all right then, since like it's a theme now. So when I contacted him, and he's like, I've actually got offer on a course. Do you wanna do it? It's like, yeah, go on then. And I learned about how to do podcasting and everything, and then I set up like completely like from zero to what I needed, like the audio, the camera, what the Zoom, because at that point we're not face-to-face meeting, so Zoom. How do I do this? How do I edit? How do I like do this? How do I get the logo up? How do I do this?
I've only done one Zoom one. It was with Evan Fraser from Dirtwire, and they're in America, and he was touring. Yeah, and it was so much easier.
Yeah, it is. It is so much.
Record, nice one, post.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So and then I just started like interviewing all these people from that's where the name came, like Soul Awakenings with Madiha Sosan. So,
and we'll put a link for that so people can go. It's video and audio.
It's video and audio. So it's on YouTube and Spotify and all of that jazz. And that's where obviously it's aimed at people who've been through adversity and spiritual awakening, because like all these experiences kind of like gathered it, and I was like, okay, this can become kind of like a podcast. And then I just started interviewing people, and you know what, like when you're in alignment with your path, what you're meant to be doing, universe just hands you people like on plates.
It's mad. Like some of the guests I get, I'm like, the fact that I even know you.
I know.
Like the fact that
and you just ended up on my podcast. Yeah. I just fist bump you on an event and you're on my podcast.
Mexican sound healing shaman, and we've had the Huni Cooing on, that's coming soon. Oh, by the way, with this Dirtwire, we've got like 400,000 views on a song. Yeah, go on then.
It's like
I'm just giving them a lift.
Yeah.
How is this happening? But I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say. When you're in alignment, everything gets handed to you on plate. Like Mr. Bob Doyle ended up on there, Rachel Anlon from Dragon's Head, all these like big profile people ended up just being on the podcast, and then so that's just been the theme of it. We've just gone in studio for the first time. Series 5's been
it's at the Resonance Centre, right?
The Resonance
Where I
Centre.
do my classes Monday. You know, just plug that. But no, it's a really beautiful little spot,
really
isn't it? Now, how is it transitioning from Zoom to having your own team and space?
It was again, obviously. I missed out the important bit. I won an award.
Oh yeah, sorry, award-winning podcast. What was the award?
So last year I got nominated for.
That gets a fist bump.
Oh, that gets a fist bump. Yeah. I got nominated for the best podcast of the year, which obviously I won. And then at this point, universe is like, well, are you gonna upgrade or are you gonna do online Zoom easy peasy stuff? And I'm like, okay, so how is this gonna come about? And no idea what I'm doing. Never had experience with a real camera, proper video camera. I know I like take photos and photography and all of that stuff. Is it not the same at all? What the hell is a focus and what is a mic?
Autofocus is ISO. What the? I'm ringing mates going, what is that? And it's like, that's why this has happened.
Yeah. So. And then it's just like the team was just formed. All of a sudden, the idea came to my mind. It's like, okay, well, the podcast is actually like an award-winning podcast. I need to upgrade it. And my friend, I was talking to my friend about it in a cafe, and this other guy who was there as well. We were at an event, and I said to him, he said, "Oh, well, we got everything. Like, it's fine. We got the space and all of that." So it's like, no, we haven't. We haven't got a camera. We haven't got this. We haven't got that. I don't know what to do with it. And this guy, Zach, who was our camera guy, DOP, and he was set there. He's like, "I know how. I do filming." I'm like, "Oh, amazing! So can you help me out?" He's like, "Yeah."
You got Marika, my sister Marika.
Yeah,
as well.
Marika. Yeah. So I met
she's
her
a
at a
goddess,
birthday party.
Oh, okay.
And I did obviously never met her before. And I asked her, like, "Well, what do you do?" And she's like, "Oh, I work in, like, a film and all of that stuff." It's like, "Oh, I'm doing a podcast. I'm going in studio. Can you tell me? Can you give me any tips?" And she's like, this. And then she's like, "Actually, I might come and help you out." It's like, and then the team, it's like when the team needed to form, it formed.
Like Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, my friend Lily and her boyfriend, who's our editor, and Lily is the photographer. I've known her for years. She's like, I at one point I was like dressed up as Katniss Everdeen in a music video.
Okay.
And she was just following me around with a camera, right? She's taking my business photos and everything. And so I asked her, like, "Lily, do you want to be the photographer?" She's like, "Yes." And then team was formed.
I'm jealous, man. I am the team. I'm the one. I'm the editor, the filmer, the host.
Your time will come.
I market it. I promote it. No, it's sort of like earning your stripes. Like, it's fine.
Think, again, the thing
I learned a lot.
Yeah,
and I'm not reliant on anybody else as well.
Exactly.
If it comes to it where I'm traveling and I ain't got a team, then so what?
Yeah, you got you.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what? I put out a video yesterday. I went for a walk at Chorlton Water Park and I put out a video saying, if you were the only person left in the world, how would you fill yourself up? How are you going to fill your heart up? Because, like, we look for validation in other... I know this is going a little bit off, like, different topic, but how... we look for people to validate us. We look for, like, codependency. Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me, right? We look for validation. So in order to pour love back into yourself, how, like, if you imagine, like, you were the only person left in the world, you got no choice to feel that love, right? You got no choice but to survive. You got no choice to do a podcast because there's no one else around. You're going to learn on your own, right? So, like you're relying on yourself. You're independent, right? And that is a really amazing quality. I mean, there's plus sides to having a team. Incredible. You have people, but like it's like if one person's there, the whole production falls apart.
Pros and cons to everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if I learn, like, editing, like I was telling you about our fair, I need to learn editing.
I can show you a thing or two.
Yeah.
Episode 19's coming out soon. And I've got loads more, and it's just like that. And it's all trial and error. And like we were talking about the perfectionist part. Exactly. And I have like this little eye twitch. And because of my meditation practice, I feel the sensation. What story have we made? What expectations are attached to this? Right, let go of that. Have fun again.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a really beautiful space to be, where you know that you can do that, and that will attract. In the future, you get bigger and bigger and bigger, but you just don't. You just
it doesn't get bigger than Madiha. Yeah, I'm sorry, I won't have
that. But you know what? We support each other. Yeah. We're like we help each other thrive, and this is it. This is like when the time is right, universe will give you what you need. Right? Will not give you before or after. Just on that point when you're right.
Exactly how it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing is if you're so consumed by stories and illusions and trying to resist that and that, you're actually missing everything that's just right in front of you.
Yeah, and again, people talk about living in the present moment, and it is so important because right now is all there is.
Even if you're thinking of the future or the past, you're doing it right now.
Right now is all there is. You've got these tools to work with, like, how one of the interview I did in the past was like, we were talking about, trauma and the adversity. It was like, okay, I don't have a brother, I don't have a sister, I don't have a dad, I don't have my mom is disabled, not like, so I didn't have those like kind of support, right? And I don't have certain things. I could focus on that, or I can focus on oh my God, I have a roof over my head. I have a podcast. I have amazing people. I have this. I have that. Look for the tools that you can work with in the now, not what you don't have.
Don't put attention on the things that are making you tired and stressed out.
Yeah.
It's just going to, where your attention goes is where your energy flows, and that's what you're going to manifest more of. Now, I want to talk to you all day, but I'm mindful that you did tell me that there's a bit of you got things to do. You're a busy lady. So is there anything else before we do end that you feel like it's important to share about who on earth you are right now?
I feel like the message that I really want to give out is, I think we talked about this in the last podcast as well, the importance of inner healing. It's really important to look into your emotions, to process your emotions, because if you're living your life ignoring your emotional guidance system, then you're not living a full life. You don't know who you are, and if one message that you want to get out of me is like, not that, oh, I had this spiritual awakening, oh, not that I'm doing these amazing things. Yeah, but it's the deeper stuff that you need to look at, the deeper stuff. Where is your pain points? Where is your trauma? Don't be afraid to look into it. Like, go into it like fearlessly and head on. I get that it's hard, but if you can process a lot of your stuff, trust me on this, your life will click into place. And it won't click into place when you're trying to force and control things, and when you have all this, like I said, like these rotten tomatoes inside of you. The gems are behind the rotten tomatoes, but you got to remove them first in order to get to the gems. And then you get all these like alignments, like how I've been getting the speaking alignments, the podcast alignments, the interviews, the radios, and fist bumping celebrities alignments. All of that comes when you've done the inner work, and I can't stress that enough.
Beautiful. And where can people find you in the podcast?
So you can find me on Instagram, Madiha Sosan 1, YouTube, Madiha Sosan, and the podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube as well. So it's called Soul Awakenings with Madiha Sosan.
And I will put links for all this as well in the description. Thank you for coming on for round 2. Maybe I'll have like a bonus one when I have like somewhere like, do you want to hear how it went the first time? Because I think it was 2 hours the first time.
Yeah, it was.
We went in, and I think this was actually more concise. Like sometimes we can be a bit verbose, and I think this was meant to happen to get it all in one episode so they could just digest everything. Well, not everything that Madiha is. I'm sure we're going to get you on for round 3.
At a certain point, yeah. And you're coming on my podcast as well.
I'd more than happily come on. I'd love to do that as well.
Amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Peace and love, guys. There you have it. Episode 20. Madiha, wow. That's a journey, isn't it? Coming from Pakistan, the sorrow with her dad and the mum, and the anxiety crippling teachers abusing, and look at her now. You wouldn't even think that was the same person when you hear her talking about what she was like to where she is now. I mean, if Madiha doesn't inspire you, that there's always a way through this suffering, where we can grow, where we can turn it into such beauty. Now, go check a podcast out. I'll put a link in the notes for you, because if you like this, that's her. So it's just going to be her speaking to fantastic guests. I think I'm going to be on it as well at some point, she said, maybe in season 6, because it's season 5 now, and it's award-winning for a reason. If you want to just check her out as well, I'll put the links for Madiha in the description. But yeah, show her some love, because that's all I've got for Madiha. Now, next time, we're going to be doing one with... It was a bit serendipitous, to be honest. I was at a Sam Garrett concert at Union Chapel in London, and I'd heard so many good things, and I already loved his music. It's a guy called Antama. It's a proper special episode. Really, really talented. Got a lot to say. And yeah, it was mad. I was like, will you just come on the podcast? I've had Leo on, and I know your friend Farouz. And he was like, yeah, go on then. And he was up, and he was just doing this thing with his conscious classroom, doing this little exercise with the kids. Came right after it. We did a 2-parter. It's going to be an amazing one. It's like, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to ruin it. I'll let Antama just show you why I'm so excited to have him on the show. Whilst you're waiting as well for that, maybe if you like Madiha, go and check out Spiritual. What did I call it? I tell you what, spiritual growth or something like that, but it's with Nikki Cohen, and that's a lot. That's very in depth with that sort of stuff. And then who else would? Ursula Griffiths. Go check out Ursula. I'm about to do a juicing retreat with her, and I think she'd be a cup of tea. That's a 2-parter as well, so that'll keep you that will keep you busy until Antama's 2-parter, episode 21 and episode 22 comes. Now, guys, if you want to find myself, you're just done with this suffering, and you're like, what is there? What out there? Well, there's meditation with Michael, and I promise you, if it can help me, it can help you. So, I'll put the description there. Look at me. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Episode 20, Mike, come on. I will put my details in the description. Also, for Isabella Nutrition, which I've just done an episode with her, and oh, what a gem. I mean, I love her because obviously it's my partner, but you know, she's just what she says will speak for itself. But you can do one-to-ones with her. You can come to a workshop. She'll also be doing this Juice and Flow retreat. She's one of the main reasons behind it. She's helped create it with Joshua Obazuki of Transmute. So, yeah, I'll put the descriptions for her and obviously Transmute. I tell you what, I'm not giving anything away, but what I've just been speaking to Joshua about with Transmute is just epic, and you're going to love it. So go check out what they're doing. I know they've got Arignani this Friday. They've obviously got My Flowing Meditation Journeys on the Saturday. We've got the Nature Community Walk in Macclesfield Forest on the Sunday. But if this is past, there'll be so much more. And the exciting news, probably you already know about it now. So I'll put the descriptions for them I'll put the links for them in the description. I'm not editing this. You're going to see the true me, the authentic me. I don't get everything right first time. Right. I think that's enough, isn't it? No, I always forget this bit. Likes. If you like the show, just a little tick, a little taparoo. That's going to really help. You want to share Madiha and Who on Earth with other people, it's much appreciated. If you want to comment, I'd love to hear what you have to say about the episode. I love you for it. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Guys, you're so special. You're so unique. You're so fantastic. Thanks for staying till the end. Peace and love.